भीमातीर्निवासाय पंढरीपुरवासिने पांडुरंगप्रकाशाय विठ्ठलाय नमो नमः. मरुत्पुत्राय कवये भीमाय भयहरणे श्रीमदानंदतीर्थाय प्रख्याताय नमो नमः. Dear children of God, Jai Sri Krishna, Namaste. Seeing so much suffering in my own life and in the world around me, this thought comes to me that suffering can be mitigated, not annihilated. That's the message for the day. We in Hinduism believe our deeds of our past birth have a deep impact on our present one. That is why even good people are suffering for some karma of their past birth. That suffering can never be avoided. They have to go through it. It is like the judgment from the court of Krishna. One has to pass through that tunnel. Otherwise, how can you explain the miseries saintly people suffer in the world? They've gone through unbearable loss of family members, their dear and near ones. Sometimes they have been bedridden for years. Some go through emotional tragedies, estrangement from dear and near. Sometimes they lose their high posts and suffer abject anonymity. At times they are at the abyss of despair. At times they stand like a solitary tree in the desert of life, only to watch their single shadow in the burning heat of life. Sometimes they are cheated by those who they believed and are left to fend for themselves. Suffering is of various sorts. It could come as an incurable disease, unbearable death of the dear and near, sometimes physical breakdown, at times unspeakable mental agony, enormous financial loss, alienation in society for no fault of theirs, and so on. Thus, the suffering we see in this world is of various sorts. At times we can trace the origin as to where and how it began. And at times it takes us by surprise and springs up like a wonderful plant in the mid-air, poisonous and deadly in infection. Dear children of God, we really do not know the origin of suffering as much as we see the process of suffering. Ordinary people react violently to suffering. They rave and rant, blaming a heartless God for it. They curse their fate or of those who are next to them. For a philosophic individual, suffering is a part of life. Even if it is accepted as an integral part of life, it is good. Suffering and life are accepted together. Suffering can be mitigated, not annihilated. I try to analyze the word mitigated. If it is imprisonment, the man of God who suffers it undeservingly, as Bhadrachal Ramdas did, the sentence is mitigated. It seems a long drawn-out agony. The solution comes around the corner. If it is a financial loss, a windfall greets the victim in a short while. If it is a bereavement, none can help any individual. Hence, my definition of mitigation changes at this moment in this context. The individual who has permanently lost a dear and near one rises like a phoenix from the ashes of despair and faces tragedy with enviable aplomb. Draupadi lost 5 stalwart sons in one night. They were mercilessly slaughtered in sleep by Drona's son Ashwathama. She rises above the tragedy, becomes a self-crowned queen of mercy, and forgives the ruthless killer. Her argument is, let his mother not weep, as I am weeping for my dead children. The capacity to outgrow grief is the quality of a divine individual. Kunti lost her husband and all his property and was left with 5 children. The eldest was only 17, and yet she never forgets the Lord. After the battles fought and won, she asked Krishna, give me suffering so that I can appeal to you, and you will appear to me. This will get rid of my future births. Vipadasantuna shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunarbhava darshanam. Suffering weakens the weakling and strengthens the strong. It has an ennobling effect on noble minds and devout hearts. It leads devotees from sorrow to forbearance, thence to further faith, and finally liberation here and thereafter. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. हंसाएगा तो कृष्णा हंस लेंगे हम, रुलाएगा तो कृष्णा रो लेंगे हम, हंसना भी कृष्णार्पणम और रोना भी कृष्णार्पणम। कृष्णा कृष्णा सब कुछ कृष्णार्पणम, कृष्णा कृष्णा सब कुछ कृष्णार्पणम, कृष्णा कृष्णा सब कुछ कृष्णार्पणम। थैंक यू।